Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Neo-Morphosis Infestation, and it's from Dark Gate Games. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page to find out more information than I could possibly tell you here. To do that, all you got to do is follow the link in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Go there, find out more information, and hopefully consider backing the project. Now, Neo-Morphosis Infestation is a cooperative game. It can also be played solo, but it can be played with up to 4 players in the full game. You and the other players are researchers at this facility in the far future where Earth has already gone into a second ice age due to tampering with the environment. And now, at your research facility, you and your teammates, your crew members, are trying to find a way to basically go out to the stars, explore other worlds and galaxies, since Earth is no longer hospitable. But unfortunately, you have other problems brewing, including an infestation of alien life forms at your research station. So you need to both complete your objectives and your experiments and things, and keep your facility from falling apart while fending off this alien infestation and these creatures that can seemingly evolve from lower forms into higher forms and just mess with your equipment, start tearing the facility apart. Then you have to deal with those emergencies as well, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do here is give you a brief look at how the game is played with prototype components of the game. So a couple things to bear in mind. One is that what you see here may change in the final version of the game. There are some things that may actually be in the final version too, and some of the artwork and stuff like that. There are prototype miniatures that I'll try to show on camera as well, so you can see, get a glimpse of what those will look like with their final versions. But the other thing to remember too is that this is, while it is a game that is accessible to a lot of people, there's also a lot of different moving parts to this game too. There's a lot of different complex systems and things to help you, to help immerse you into the game and keep it more thematic and keep the theme on point in all the different ways that you and your players can interact with the game. And the short version is, what that means is there's too much for me to cover in just this one preview video. So what I'm going to do is just cover the main important parts of the gameplay to give you a taste of how it runs, and then I'm going to encourage you to go to the Kickstarter page again just so you can see some of the more details about how the game works. But what we'll do, we'll take a look here, then we're going to come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Neo-Morphosis Infestation is a cooperative science fiction horror adventure game for up to 4 players, and it can also be played solo. You and your crew are working at a research station on a future Earth in the middle of a new ice age, trying to find a way to escape Earth for the stars. But it becomes clear very quickly that vicious alien creatures have infested the station, and the team must survive their attacks while completing their goals. If the crew can complete the objectives for their chosen mission, they'll win immediately. But if too many emergencies pile up, or if all of the crew members are disabled or in recovery at the same time, they'll lose the game. Set up the game by choosing your mission. You can do a one-off adventure or a continuing campaign going between missions in order. Each mission has a map set up for you to follow. Lay out the tiles as depicted on the map representing the rooms of the facility, then place the appropriate tokens and doors on their spots along with the drone miniature. Shuffle the infestation cards and place one in each room. Make a stock of alien miniatures near the board along with other tokens, dice, and card decks you'll need. Alien cards and a drone card are placed in reach of all players so they can be reminded of their stats. You'll also set up the system interface panel where you'll keep track of emergencies and time, among other things. Place a time marker on the start of the track and other tokens to keep track of emergencies near their spots. Finally, every player should choose a crew member, either randomly or selectively. You'll take an ID sheet, repair attempt tokens in their color, and a special ability card. There's also an accompanying miniature for each crew member, which you'll place on or near the map according to the mission specifications. Every mission has objectives that must be met in order to win. For example, in this mission, the players must first unlock the blue door by simultaneously activating 2 special switches, then they must clear Sector 7 of enemies and crew, and use a special pass to stabilize the room. All the while, aliens will be making this as difficult as possible. The game takes place in rounds, broken up into phases. The start of round phase is mostly when emergencies happen and get worse. Emergencies already in play escalate by moving the markers down, and emergencies already on level 3 go critical. The emergency and all tokens are removed and replaced with a sector compromise card, and an accompanying token is placed on the board. A crew member caught in a compromised sector will take damage as indicated by the token and may get disabled, and compromised sectors that have not been secured will create new emergencies that will pop next round. This also happens if the time marker, which marches forward at the end of every round, hits the end of the timeline. New emergencies placed last round now get enabled, and system overload tokens are placed to disable the relevant functions. Next, crew that was already recovering can remove that token and stand their miniature upright so that they can now act in the new round. But if their token was on the disabled side, it simply flips to the recovering side and they can't act this round. This leads to the crew phase. The players can activate the crew in any order, but each crew member can only activate once and take 3 actions. Keep in mind the stats on your character ID sheet. You have science, technology, and programming skills, along with health, defense, and agility, an attack bonus, and range. You also have a special limited use ability card. The crew can open or close doors if they're unlocked, move between open areas, attack an enemy, repair doors or terminals, which is relevant for emergencies, scan adjacent rooms, search crates for items, use special mission actions, control the drone if they can get to the drone, and several other specific actions. When moving into a new area that has a face-down infestation card, the crew member's turn is interrupted and the card is flipped and resolved. This tells you exactly which enemy aliens to place in each number-coded section of the room. They will activate later. One of the most important actions is attacking. If an enemy alien is in your line of sight and range, you can make an attack by rolling a die, adding your appropriate modifier to try and exceed the enemy defense and deal damage, hopefully. Some crew can only attack in melee range, meaning the same area, while others can attack at long range into adjacent tiles. Aliens also have special abilities for both attack and defense, so make sure to look at the relevant stat card. Item cards can enhance your attack or defense as well. Other actions may require skill tests in order to perform repairs or interact with terminals and stave off emergencies. This is where the dice come into play, along with your programming rating. You'll need to make attempts and try to match the symbols on the appropriate emergency card with the symbols on the dice. In rooms with crates, players can search for item cards, while tech and science tokens allow them a chance to craft an item. Also, a special non-action before crew activation, players can attempt xenobiology to get attack and defense bonuses. You need to try and connect matching alien symbols to activate the bonuses for each player. Once every player has activated their crew member and taken all 3 actions or passed, the alien phase begins. At the start of this phase, an alien activation card is drawn and resolved from top to bottom. This dictates how specific aliens will move and attack the crew this round, including structural damage to the facility. But it also dictates whether aliens will Neo-Morphosize. Pods can hatch into a random larger alien by rolling a die. Large aliens can get bonuses, and then they can eventually evolve into an even larger, nastier alien. Once aliens have finished moving, attacking, and Neo-Morphosizing, potentially, assuming all crew members are not disabled, the game continues to the final end of round phase, where the time marker is moved down 1 on the track. Then the next round begins, beginning with the checking of emergencies. Play will continue like this until either all of the objectives have been met for the mission, or all the players have been disabled, or all of the station has fallen apart due to cascading emergencies. And that is Neo-Morphosis Infestation. So first off, the theming is very interesting in Neo-Morphosis because it's not just you guys, you and the other crew members trying to fend off monsters. You've got very specific goals in mind from mission to mission. And I didn't really stress this in the beginning part, but I did say it in the preview. You can play this as a campaign. So you go from one thematic mission to the next along this sequence of events, which is the preferred ideal way for you to play, because you actually see this story unfold. And see things get more tense and more dramatic as time goes on. And so you're not just like, oh, we got to kill monsters. It's, oh, we got to kill monsters because they're interfering with all of these different things that we need to do as this facility is getting torn to shreds and falling apart. And that extra added tension of, it's not just enemy spawning, it's enemy spawning and all these things popping up and fire suppression systems having to kick on and terminals being screwed with. It's just, there's a lot here that can go wrong, and it's incumbent on you and the players to work together for all of these different things. One player can kind of focus on something, but you all need to be working together to well, I was going to say put out fires, but literally put out fire sometimes, and also metaphorically. So lots of different stuff going on. You have different characters with different special abilities, different stats, so you can play a different character each time and have different play style. There's also a drone that you can take control of, so you can have one player kind of be in charge of that, and they have a different play experience too. Just the base game, there are several different types of aliens, so you've always got new and different challenges, like with special abilities too. Like, how is this one going to react? This is a really vicious attacker. This one's more about defense. This one, we got to stop it before it evolves into something even nastier. That's the other thing too. It's not just that more enemies are coming out every round, they're also evolving. They're neo-morphosizing into their bigger counterparts, or bigger, nastier counterparts. So you want to try to keep that population down as low as possible, ideally none, in order to keep that from happening. So there's just this tension that's constantly keeping the game moving. There's never like a moment where the game is just stalled out and you're just like, well, I guess I'm just kind of going to wander around from the rooms. It's like, oh, if I possibly can, I will try and get some items from this room, but I've got aliens breathing down my neck on either end, and also I've got to tamper with this control panel to try and stop that emergency from going critical and just letting everything go to hell. But again, you've got things that can help you out with that. You've got that drone that you can activate. You have all kinds of different items. You have items that you can craft and upgrade as well in order to help you out. You have your own special ability that you can use. It's limited use, but it can really come in handy in a crunch at certain times. You also have that xenobiology puzzle that you and the other players can manipulate in order to get different attack and defense bonuses. So you're not helpless. You are experts in your field, and expert both scientists and fighters. And that's the interesting thing too, is that every player can potentially do different types of programming and tech and fighting as well. So you can all do a little bit of everything, but some players are just better, or some crew members are more focused on different things too. So this is all going on, and you're trying to complete your goals. So it can be a little bit overwhelming at times, but each individual thing is actually very straightforward. It's just a matter of you and the other players getting into the groove of figuring out how the round phases work and how you can go from each phase and be as successful as possible and complete your little objectives. Which, again, because it's a dynamic system, because it's a game with different missions, different scenarios, and because you can choose to play it as a campaign or just one-shots, you can sort of pick and choose. That means that every mission is going to have a different feel to it, different types of objectives, different things that you have to do, different special interactions around the board that, again, tie back into the theme and are highly thematic as well. So if any of that sounds like it appeals to you, if you like adventure games, if you like cooperative games, if you like high difficulty games, but games that don't take a long time to learn and can be accessible to a lot of people, if you like the theme of science fiction, aliens, horror as well, and just future tech and future crafting and characters who aren't just big lugheads but actually know about programming and things like that and can use those skills in the game, well, if you like any of those things, or if you know someone who does, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go to the official Kickstarter project page and find out more information than I could have possibly told you here, because again, there's a lot to this game. But all you got to do is follow the link in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Go there, find out more information, and hopefully consider at least backing the project. That is Neo-Morphosis Infestation from Dark Gate Games. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, for supporting our sponsors. Take care.